Hi guys, it's Janet. I have Mark with me today for the living room talks. Mark, I'm going to throw it to you to introduce yourself a little bit.
How's it going? My name is Mark Armour, originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, still down here in New Orleans, Louisiana, at Dillard University. Um, been practicing athletic training for over 15 years now, so I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. Um, I've worked in every rankings from professional sports with the NFL and the NBA, and now I'm in a collegiate setting and have been for the past 7 or 8 years now. So
So I'm curious, how did you get into athletic training, and was there a moment where you decided that this was going to be a career path for you?
I feel like I started like a lot of athletic trainers start. I was a student athlete. I played sports in college and I got hurt. So I had to spend time in the athletic training room, and I thought it was kind of cool because I was studying bio pre-med at the time, and I was like, I hate school. I don't want to really go to med school, which, maybe coulda, shoulda. But I got to talking with my athletic trainer, Mr. Rufus. I wish I knew his last name. Mr. Rufus at Clark Atlanta University. And then kind of started doing some research about the profession. It's like, man, this is a pretty cool gig. You get to be a healthcare provider, and you get to be around sports, and I like both of them. So that's how I got into this.
So tell me a little bit about your athletic career. What sports did you play, and what was your favorite?
So my first love was football. I played football through to 2 years in college. But my best sport was probably baseball. It's just boring because I was a pitcher. So, you throw one game a weekend, and then you're done for the most part. But I did play 1 year baseball in college. I also ran track in college. So I was a multi-sport athlete in college. But football still has my heart, except for working it.
That's funny. So like you mentioned, you worked in a bunch of different settings, from currently at an NAI HBCU to pro sports, and then did some hospital work during this COVID season. Pros and cons of each setting.
Oh, man. At the current setting that I'm in now, I think one of the biggest pros is that you get to pour into these young adults. They kind of look up to you. I get to be a face that is familiar to them. Representation really does matter. And so for them to see a healthcare professional that looks like them, treating them, pouring into them, just not from a get them healthy standpoint, but as a person, that I think that's the biggest pro for me working in a college setting, especially at a HBCU. For professional sports, you get the best of the best. High level athletes, it's always exciting. You have unlimited resources, but to me, the best part about working in pro sports was the food. It had to be the food. You get to eat what they eat, and they eat good. So I really enjoyed that. In the hospital setting, I'm not really a fan of the hospital setting at all, but it did give me an opportunity to meet a lot more healthcare professionals, people I wouldn't interact with on a normal day-to-day. And that was kind of cool. That was probably the pro when dealing with that. Now, they all have their cons. They're all time consuming. Pro sports is super time consuming, high pressure, and it's really business oriented. At the collegiate NAIA setting, we don't necessarily have all the resources, which some people would call it a con, but I think it gives you an opportunity to be creative and come up with some stuff. But I think that would probably be the biggest con. And then being in the hospital, the biggest con is being in the hospital.
So talking more about your career, you were in the pro setting in the NBA and did some time with the NFL. What are your thoughts on people thinking, especially students, thinking that you have to go to a big name school in order to be in those positions?
Uh, these young athletic trainers are very different than how I came up. They think that it's all about the big name and I was here at this, but really it's all about your skills and the work. Um, so when they feel like they have to go to the big schools, it's like, yeah, you went to, I don't know, UNC, you got great education, but did you get out there and do the work? Because in pro sports, it's a grind, and everybody wants that pro sport lifestyle, but it's like you really got to grind. You really have to work, and then you have to work on your skills, not just athletic training skills, but your soft skills too. And it takes some time. And I feel like a lot of young athletic trainers feel that their first job is supposed to be pro sport, Power Five, D1 football, making $80,000 to $100,000 out the year, and it's like you didn't put any time in. You don't really know anything yet. You haven't seen enough yet, and I don't say that to be condescending, but I mean there's different levels to it, and you really do have to grow and grind. I think I was fortunate to hop in pro sports really early because my junior year undergrad, I was interning with arena football teams. I did that for 2 years. I worked training camps. I did all those kind of things where I really just worked. And it might not have been the beautiful or the glamorous athletic training, but it was like the grind and the work. And I think that people picked up my work ethic and saw that, oh man, he's the kind of worker I would want on my team. And I developed my skills throughout those times, and I got better and better and better. And people are like, all right, man, he's doing a real good job at a lot of this. That the athletes see value in him. And that's what made me get my spot.
So I know that you have a couple of additional certifications. Why did you choose those specific ones? And what's your advice to people looking into additional certifications?
I think they are great. It's like no good carpenter just has one saw or one hammer or one screwdriver or anything like that. You want to put as many tools in your toolbox as possible. I think one of the first additional ones I got was kinesio taping. And some people are like, I don't get it. And it's like, well, if you take the course and you learn about the functionality of it and how it's supposed to really work and what you're supposed to actually use it for and how to apply it properly, I mean, you might get it a little bit. You might get it more than just looking at other people doing it or watching YouTube University. But I find that they're all useful into some way. To some athlete, K-taping is extremely useful. To others, it's like, I don't want that trash on me. And then I think I went from that to my Graston certification. I took that because I'm a big hands-on soft tissue guy. And then I did corrective exercise and performance enhancement specialist. And every year I say I'm gonna get my CS. I don't know. I need to do it. But I think that they all have value. I think that they all show your commitment to wanting to learn and to grow as a professional. I think that they give you an additional tool that you might be able to utilize in a unique situation. So I think they're worth their value. So yeah, that's how I feel about it.
So NATA convention this year is virtual. I'm fingers crossed that it's going to be in person next year. But tell me about the first time you went to a convention. What were your impressions and what did you take away from it?
Oh, it was fun. I mean, the very first one I went to was as a student, and it was like, wow, all these people are athletic trainers. And then you get to watch them present and learn from them and then go out and socialize with them. And it's like, man, you look at people that have been in the game for a really, really long time and how many friends they have and how close they are to their friends, and, you know, how much information sharing and networking goes on. And then you wake up and you go right back at it the next day trying to learn something new. Or even if you're not trying to learn something new, you're going to support one of your colleagues that um, you might have gave some information to that was presenting, or you might get to go and look at some of the posters around NATA, or visit uh, the exhibits to just go look at some of the new products that they have out there, and just mingle and meet a lot of new and different people. So I had a blast. I can't wait till uh, the next in-person one, and the think tank gets to get together, and we have like, everybody's gonna, it used to be like, we got to go to Don Joy thing. We got to go to, everybody's going to want to come to think tank's social. And it's going to be amazing. So I'm looking forward to it already.
It could be the newest go-to party. Like,
Yeah.
That's going to be the hot ticket.
It's going to be the hot ticket. And I think that it'll be an opportunity for us to maybe have a committee within a think tank to get sponsorships and all these other nice things, to start a bigger scholarship for minority athletic trainers. And, you know, I think that that'll be really, really good. And we're going to have a good time.
Oh, absolutely. So you're at an NAI HBCU right now. How do you feel about working in that setting, and what do you think about the workplace culture?
I think it's really cool. Most HBCUs have a very strong family and tradition environment, and Dillard University is very much so the same. We meet as a staff, but it's more of a meeting as a family, and it's not just in athletics; it's across the campus. It's a smaller university, so everybody kind of knows everybody. And it's cool. And we got really, really competitive athletics. You know, people look at the NAIA, it's like, hey, I'll put my men's basketball team up against any Division II and a lot of Division I teams. And it's like, hey, coach, why we don't play them? It's like, because they don't want to schedule us. And I get it. We have really good athletics. So at first I didn't know a whole lot about the NAIA, because, you know, NC2A is the giant, and everybody aspires to be in the NC2A. But I mean, when I say they have some really good schools, athletically, academically, some nice schools with some really good resources, and some with some really nice facilities in the NAIA level. And you know, they're definitely worth taking a shot at, definitely worth looking at and exploring for career options.
So 15 years as a certified, what makes you happy and what keeps you motivated as an athletic trainer?
Oh, I was gonna say, what makes me happy? These people make me happy. You can't see it.
You can't see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn my background off. No, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, this is a picture of my wife and my kids and my family. They make me happy. They inspire me to be great and do things. And then just like that family, my own real family, you know, my family here at this institution and every institution that I've been at, where I was able to really grow family with the student athletes and the coaches and the staff. I mean, they really make you want to come back. You know, you want to take care of them. You want to see them succeed. You want to help them be able to perform at their greatest. And so it's like, just being a part of these family environments and with good staff and having good people around you make you want to just come back.
So switching gears a little bit, this past year between COVID and social justice and quarantine, how have you been able to cope with everything? And have you had to had any conversations about everything that was going on?
Absolutely. I mean, this last year is really tough, and it still is really, really tough. There's been so many more expectations and workload put on athletic trainers and healthcare professionals across the country in dealing with COVID, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Just at one point having to take everybody's temperatures daily, or having them wear the mask.
The
Um,
symptom checks, man. The
sim-
symptom checks.
Good thing that technology helped out a lot with that, but even just combing through that information, testing, quarantining, it was it's a lot. It was a lot. So coping, I mean, fortunately, I'm in a group with a lot of athletic trainers, and we're able to talk and share about our experiences and understand that we're not in this alone. We're all in this together. I actually use some professional services. I sought out some mental health um, help along the way because, and it's valuable. Something that I continue to do um, because we try to do everything in our own strength as athletic trainers, and it's not really. We sometimes we bite off more than we can chew, and we just keep chewing and never get to swallow. But I rely heavily on my faith um, through a lot of this. Um, Social justice was huge. I'm at HBCU. I have two 15-year-old teenage boys that are Black. Having conversations when things happen with them, my student athletes, my wife. It's it's consuming. It's consuming, but nonetheless, it's needed. It's necessary. Having heavy conversations with my colleagues that don't look like me. It's heavy because I know a lot of people don't understand or don't get it because they never had to. They never had to. And a lot of them still don't have to. And some of them still may not understand or get it. But, those conversations are still had. They're heavy. You hope that there's some learning that takes place. And, I try to reach at people's hearts and not so much their minds. So that's kind of how I've been dealing with it. A lot of talking, a lot of conversations, some tears, some days where you just want to throw your hands up and want to walk out and, can't take this anymore and, take more days off, more times to myself, you know, so more exercise.
So you mentioned mental health a little bit. Was that the first time you sought help in that arena?
No, no, not the first. I have before, but probably most consistent now, and a lot more consistent now because it's like it's part of self care. So you're building your time for your self care. COVID let us realize a lot of what's really important and what's not that important that other people think might be important, and it's really not. So we were able to filter out some of the trash, and then you know I'm a huge advocate of mental health. I've written a couple policies and that kind of thing for some schools and help people write policies. And because I know that it's a value add, not just to any program, but to any person. And so I push for it. I'm an ally, I'm a safe space, I'm all these wonderful things that um, I would want somebody else to be for me. And then I use those services that I recommend to others to use for me too.
So my last question, and it's always my favorite question. Tell me about an embarrassing moment you've had as an athletic trainer, and what did you learn from it?
Embarrassing moment. Athletic trainers don't get embarrassed, do we? We just
Yes.
laugh it off.
No, no. There's still certain things that I do now in my routine of, going out on the field and stuff because of those embarrassing moments. I had my
Oh,
fanny pack open one time and I had to run down the football field for 20 yards and tape everything was flowing
Nice.
out of it during
Nice.
warm-ups, a game warm-up. And I went to Fresno State. It's not a big school, but once a year we'll get the ESPN Friday night game, and that's when it happened.
That's
So
awesome.
no. So
That's
every time I do anything now, like pockets, fanny pack, everything is like secured. I even like tuck in my shirt now, which I never used to do before.
Oh man, embarrassing. This is tough because I do silly stuff all the time, and a lot of it is not purposeful. Oh, I mean, I've done it all. I've flooded out some athletic training rooms, some
Same.
buildings. I've definitely.
Tell me about flooding an athletic training room. Tell me about
Oh
that.
man, I feel like if they had the most likely to get you wet in a wet room award, I would get it. Between not securing the hose or the spout for the water, so now the water's all over the place, to just like forgetting that you left it on. That was pretty. Those are pretty bad. I think the worst is when you're pushing a cart in the gym and it's like a 10-gallon cooler. It could be a 1-gallon cooler full of ice and water, and you knock that sucker over and water goes everywhere. And it's like, there's not that much water. And then it's like, yeah, we might have to cancel practice today because somebody's got to get this up. But embarrassing.
Like you said, that 1 gallon of water looks like a freaking flood just happened across the floor.
It's crazy. It's,
And then you're finding ice cubes like 4 hours later. It's like, what the?
I hate it. I tell my student workers, it's like, if you don't do anything your entire time here, don't spill the cart. Don't spill the cart, please.
That's the only thing I ask of you.
That's it. Set the place on fire, but don't spill the cart. Not during pregame, not during any of that. Don't spill the cart. I think I've definitely had to run out on the field and trip, but dust myself off and go help. Nobody's worried about me. They're worried about the athlete.
Nope. All right, next couple minutes is for you, Mark, your closing statement.
My closing statement. My closing statement would be to be kind and make a difference. You never know what people are going through. You never know what people have gone through. You never know really how people feel or what they're actually feeling. You never know how hard or how much somebody is hurting. You never know how hard they truly are trying or are working. So one thing that we can all give to each other is grace and kindness. And sometimes I struggle with it, but I know that in my hardest spots, I would want somebody to give me grace and be kind to me too. So not just as a healthcare professional, but as a person, I try to remember to be kind, not always gentle, but kind. And if you can make somebody smile when they're feeling down, you can really make a huge difference in that person's not just day, potentially their life. Because you never know what decisions people are thinking about making. But if you can make them smile and you can be kind and show a little bit of compassion, that no matter how good your athletic training skills are, or how good of an ankle you can take, or how good of, I don't know, good you are at rehabs, people won't ever remember that. They will always remember how you treated them. So be kind to others and enjoy what you do and have fun. Take your job serious, not yourself. So
I love that. Mark, thank you so much for your time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me. You have a great one.
You too.